problem with gravity is that it is a branch of science and math dedicated to explaining, the Earth as a small cog in a big machine. From a desire to see it that way, or desire in the people who were responsible for introducing the heliocentric model to see it in that way. But find a way to explain it. But you see, over time, they managed to kind of come up with, they were trying to come up with a one answer, trying to come up with a God that kind of could make sense, like any God in any religion, an all-powerful and omnipresent, omnipotent, omnificent, elusive, mysterious, magical power, the Force. The Force. Maybe the Force is strong in all of us. Maybe Luke is human. Luke, unlearn what you have learned. The Force is all around us. We can all tap into it. You don't have to be Luke Skywalker or Princess Leia. We can all be Jedi Knights. Because there is a force which binds everything. Okay? We can't put it into one single equation. We're in a universe of infinite possibilities. Anyway, back to my point. Gravity becomes the God. Gravity becomes the creator. Gravity is responsible for the Big Bang and all this matter exploding out of nothing. The matter that creates the density, the mass, or the masses of the universe. And gravity is responsible for turning these blobs of matter and what have you from nowhere, from nothing, into balls, spinning balls, on which fire raged. A little amoeba started to take life, and seaweed, and then jellyfish, and shellfish, and lobsters, and fish that crawled out of the sea, started breathing the air, the poisonous, toxic air. And those fish climbed the trees. They grew hands. They turned into elephants and tigers and insects. We don't know when, we don't know how. Billions and billions and trillions and billions of years ago. Gazillions! Yes, off you go, carbon dating rock. So, gravity is the creator. It is the creator. It is the God of the atheistic religion that has taken science as its Bible. Books, volumes of science. That is its Bible. And like any Bible or any interpretation of any book about God, which attempts to explain the mysteries of God, they have to come up with some pretty weird stuff that we can't really get. We don't understand, but it feels like somebody's got the answer. Oh, thank God for that. I was wondering what this life was all about. Oh, somebody's... Thank you. You've given me the answer to life's most fundamental question by telling me it all started with a big bang and gravity. Gravity is why you're here. Gravity is your God. You see? But, as I said, gravity is used as a thought experiment to try to understand or make a connection with what was perceived as outer space, being connected to outer space, but in an unlocalized way. Somebody is distracting us, looking at infinite space, when perhaps we should be looking at our feet at the infinite ground. If the Big Bang created all this matter, why didn't all that matter just clump together in one big, endless piece of land? Surely that's what would happen over billions and billions and trillions of years, isn't it? It would all clump together, every single last bit of it. One mass of infinite Earth. Think about it. Think about it. I don't know. Do I know that? No. But that makes sense to me. Doesn't it make sense to you? Put drops of water on the floor and they all come together. Every new tree, every new person, every new thing, everything that grows, every seed that turns into a tree becomes more matter, more material added to this ever-expanding Earth. The universe is expanding, is it? Well, so's the Earth then. Why is that such a giant leap of faith? The Earth is infinite. We're on an infinite plane. Space is infinite along with it. We're just in this little bit of it. With these stars and this sun above us. So, you see, the insane thing about gravity, the most insane part of all of it, is that although it is a way to explain away how the Earth... Oh, by the way, if we just go from the history of it, you know, they went back and forth in the early, you know, years, a couple of thousand years ago, whatever, back and forth between the geocentric Ptolemaic model, the Greeks. You know, so they would have had their heated debates and arguments at the time. They would have been having their you know, fierce debates when someone brings in a new idea that doesn't fit with you know, because they've seen something which doesn't fit with what everyone else sees, or they've come to a conclusion for whatever reason they want to come, you know. Anyway, yeah. So there was this attempt to, you know, the sun, the moon, the planets, the stars, the wandering stars, which we really don't know what they are. You know, when you, okay, measuring astronomical distances, yeah, or the speeds that things pass, or something else, or the distances, or the sizes, you have to make some assumptions to start with, yeah, to actually create equations. Yeah, they talk about, you know, measuring the path of Venus, the Venus transit. You know, well, you know, there's this assumption that the sun is massive, much more massive than the Earth, or there's an assumption that, you know, there's millions of miles between them, between us, the sun, and Venus. But people are filming Venus as just a kind of ball of light, doing sacred geometric kind of waves. This was filmed, I can't remember by who, but it was filmed in the morning during, you know, before an eclipse, and he caught Venus doing just being a ball of strands of light. The blue sky behind it. These planets, you see, they did all this, you know, at the time they were looking through crappy telescopes, yeah. I mean, you know, the people defending the whole Newtonian gravity, Copernicus, Kepler, whatever model now, I mean, they are defending what was, you know, propagated by the church at the time, the Catholics, I suppose, or it was, you know, we hear different things. Of course, history can always be rewritten, but basically, you know, the church and scientists and what have you were possibly in a battle. Again, you know, a battle of egos, a battle to become the all-powerful, because you have the knowledge, you have the answers to life's most fundamental questions, yeah? You're the one who can deliver God's message. That's what it's, you know, that's what it's, again, the Jesus complex, yeah? That's possibly what these different people have been like through the ages, or maybe the people that they were commissioned to work for, you know, Sir Isaac Newton, maybe, you know, he was just, you know, he was knighted because he found a way to, you know, explain, be the authority for the aristocracy or the church or whoever, to be the authority figure with all the answers, the Illuminati, the illuminated ones, the ones everyone would turn to with their confusion and their questions about their paranoia. You know, why are we here? What are we doing here? They're distracting you. They're stopping you from actually working it out for yourself, right? They're giving you the answer. That's what all the religions are like, or what all the controlled religions are like, the labeling and what have you. They're all attempting to be the one that gives you the answer to the question you most desire answered. the biggest burning question in your head. It's like we woke up in a room and we didn't know where the hell we were, when we were, you know. Imagine that. Imagine waking up in this place that you're completely unfamiliar with. Don't know how you got there. You got to work it out. You got to work out why you're here. And they give you all the answers. So by the time you get to about 30 years old, and you're kind of 30, 40, you know, all right, okay, you've worked out kind of like what you're good at, what you can do, what your career might be, whatever. You kind of worked out to an extent who you are. Other people around you have influenced you, blah blah blah. You've kind of, and you see, we you know, there's a desire, you know, when you're a teenager or whatever, or a kid, you don't care. I'm having fun. I don't care. I'm having an experience. I'm living life. I'm finding shit out. Leave me alone. Yeah? Oh, okay, I want to swing off this tree and find out what happens. I want to go camping. I want to make a fire. I want to know what it's all about. That's the intrinsic desire in our hearts when we're born. That's what we come here to this planet with, this desire to explore, to have an experience, yeah? But we get so fucking worried about working out why we're here, how we got to be here in this room, in this place. There's this guy over there in the corner saying, hey, listen. This is how it is, right? But and they're going to tell you it's like this and it's like this, and you know, that's why you're here. because that's the way they see it. And you go, oh right, okay, yeah, oh right. So people become this is this kind of, by the time you get maybe into midlife, whatever, you've settled down a little bit, you know, maybe. And you want it to remain comfortable. You know, when you're younger, you often don't mind getting out of your comfort zone just to have an experience, you know. The desire to learn, find out what it's all about, overrides the desire to have a comfortable life. Okay. Yeah, fine. Yep. So, you know, point being that these theories, mathematical, they weren't solutions, they were just workings, calculations, but never actually, you know, provided a big answer. These theories were attempting to explain the Earth as a cog, one small piece of the big solar system. without any way of proving it by actually going out there and taking a look. Yeah. So they had to make some assumptions along the way, yeah, about distances of other bodies, etc. But then, when it comes to actually to that same force coming from the center of the Earth and pulling everything towards it, yeah, an inverse square law, which is really just like if you imagine a sun, and the glow of that sun, it's going to have an invert, depending on the brightness and the power and everything. There's an inverse square law which will dictate how far and how strong that light will be that emanates from the core. Or you can apply it to electromagnetic fields, etc. It's all inverse square laws. You know, it's the field that goes beyond the object that's generating the power itself. So, you know, but the thing is, gravity is a pulling power. It's the only force. It's the only force that is talked about as being pulling. Yeah, I suppose, really. Water tension, maybe, I don't know. But, you know, it's a pulling force, they say. Either way, it's got to be strong enough to pull a planet. Yet, on the ground, closer to the, and a more intense, if this is so, in a more intense and stronger region of the gravity, the force created by gravity, then you or I are forced to stand on the floor. A car or any heavy object is forced onto the ground, is pulled down. Yet, with any force, a lighter object requires less force, or a less dense object, a lighter object, okay, requires less force to pull it or push it along. So if you're going along with a vacuum cleaner, you'll easily vacuum up a feather than a shoe. So how come this gravity that is strong enough at its minimum, out there in the distance, where it's already where its power has already diminished greatly, is much less intense? How can that gravity pull a moon around, pull another planet around, yeah, but at the same time allow a blade of grass to pop up, or a dandelion to float off into the air, or a kid to blow a bubble and watch that float off in the air? The very nature of gravity and the inverse square law of its power being more intense closer to its core, and the fact that it's a force, like any other force, lighter objects will be affected by it more adversely than heavier objects. So it doesn't make sense. It's an illogical, completely flawed idea that explains away the heliocentric model, but doesn't explain what we experience while on this Earth. It does not work. It's an attempt. It doesn't connect. Yeah? They don't connect. This attempt to explain the outside, the perception that the planets and the sun are all outside and are a separate thing to us, the attempt to explain our connection with that doesn't fully connect to right down here on Earth, what we actually experience. It's all conjecture, but it doesn't fit, yeah? The less massive, the less dense an object, the quicker, and the strength, the constant strength of gravity that has the power to pull planets does not crush a daisy. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. Yet, it is the God of the science, the religion of science. Not everything that's good about science, but the religion of science, to explain very reason for our existence. Except they got it all wrong. Those mathematicians, the same as the mathematicians who defend the globe and can't understand perspective, who had no idea about perspective, those mathematicians have created this imaginary world made of gravity, or universe made of gravity. Out of their heads.